All right, another wrestling podcast would like to welcome back a man who's helping change the wrestling world one show at a time. This Saturday, you can catch him at Toronto, Ontario, Canada, as he takes part in House of Hardcore 9. Here is Vik Dalishus. Vik, man, how you doing?
Wow, thank you guys so much for having me. Congratulations on all your success. This thing has gotten quite big since the last time I was on here.
Thanks, man. But same to you, man, with House of Hardcore. How's that going? We got a big show this weekend?
House of Hardcore is crazy, man. Yeah, big show Saturday night, live on the Fight Network, a big special from Toronto, Canada. And, biggest pre-sale so far that we've ever had for people that are guaranteed definitely coming, which is really cool to know. Come a long ways from the days where we were counting every head that walked in the door. So very cool. It's very cool that Tommy's vision really got us to this place.
Now, you just mentioned that you're going to be in Canada. It's your debut there. What are you personally looking most forward to with this event?
Well, it's my very first time I actually get to wrestle outside of the United States. After being in wrestling for 15 years and getting to do all kinds of different things, this is my very first opportunity to wrestle internationally. Very excited about it. And, I think that would probably be my biggest thing is I've never been to Toronto. I'm looking forward to checking out that whole thing, seeing what the whole scene's about, and enjoying the show. It's going to be a crazy weekend.
Sure. Now, you've done a little bit of everything in the wrestling business, but which is more nerve-wracking, wrestling or, maybe some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that takes place that you're in charge of?
On show, nothing beats show day, man. It is just insanity. It is the time to perform, and, not only am I wrestling, but I'm also handling, whatever else needs to be done. So, I've been in charge of the ring crew for the last few shows. Pitching different ideas and making things happen, and all of a sudden guys just become available and show up, and there's surprises, and it's just craziness how it all goes down on show day. So as much as wrestling itself is nerve-wracking, especially at the highest level, when you get to, especially with a show that's House of Hardcore, that's something that we helped create. It's a very nerve-wracking day for sure.
Now, we have to ask, we've been looking at the website, we've been seeing some of these awesome matches that are going to take place. What role are you going to have on the show this Saturday? We want to know.
Well, if you've been paying attention, I think you can probably tell where I'll be at. What do you think? If you got to take a guess, what do you think I'll be doing?
I'm hoping to see some retribution with Team Tremendous.
Well, I think that's going to happen, brother. There's absolutely no way that I'm not going to go international and get my chance of retribution. So I think that's definitely going to go down, yeah.
Awesome. I think it's some of the best wrestling that I've seen for a long time, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we get a chance to present this whole thing on a really big platform this weekend, so everybody's going to bring their A game and have a chance to get in there with those guys, or no matter who it is, but especially if it's with those guys, that's going to be something really special. It has been the last few times, and I can't imagine this being any different.
Sure. Now, with this being House of Hardcore number 9, do you have a personal favorite House of Hardcore?
The last one. The last one that we just did from Philly. Our match couldn't have gone any better. I lost, but otherwise it was a great match. We had a ton of surprises on the show. It was just a great atmosphere, sold out. We had a really awesome set. Everything went, as good as it could. It was finally, we were using our ring. It was part of it was our whole deal. It all culminated last show. So this one's going to be really cool too.
Now, not only is House of Hardcore, the shows, are they doing great, but you also, it's been 3 years since the House of Hardcore Wrestling Academy has opened its doors. We've seen some of the students even graduate, such as Ben Ortiz. As one of the trainers, how does it feel to have personally helped someone start to achieve their dreams?
Well, especially with Ben, he's doing so well for himself right now. He's gotten a look from every major company has had a chance to take a look, finally starting to see the results of that as far as maybe getting an opportunity somewhere. if not it being just a big opportunity to be on House of Hardcore at his stage in his career. He's standing right next to me, on the ring apron last show, and he's getting a chance to accomplish everything he ever set his mind out to. Ben's totally been focused since the first day he walked into the school, and to see how far he's come and the success he has and the leadership that he brings to the table. He's always there when I need him. He helps out with the school in every possible way that we could ever ask for. He's just a good all-around dude. I couldn't be any prouder to have him be our first graduate.
Awesome. Now, it's safe to say HOH has had a tremendous year. You guys were picked up by the Fight Network, which has aired every HOH show leading up to this Saturday. It's even going on as we speak. Are there any plans to extend that partnership with the Fight Network, or you guys maybe looking to take HOH somewhere else down the line? Or I don't know if you could even, maybe give some hints towards that?
Well, I think Tommy said it himself. This weekend is the big test, and there's going to be people that are going to be paying attention to what we do in Toronto in every aspect of entertainment. And what just be a Fight Network, whether it be any other channel that's looking at a different kind of wrestling product, Tommy's been the guy that's led that whole revolution kind of thing. And this weekend, if it does really well and we sell that building out, we have the kind of show that we're capable of having, where it's just flows awesome. One thing leads into another with surprises, and everybody just brings it. You can see House of Hardcore on a much bigger platform. Who knows?
Now, for fans on the East Coast, or I guess anywhere else in the world, who may be on the fence about taking the trip to Toronto to see HOH, what would you tell them right now?
I would tell them that this is going to be the most talked about wrestling event of 2015, and you're going to want to be there in person to see it. Every single one of these weekends, it seems, has a wrestling show that makes that claim, but I know that we're going to bring it this weekend. A lot has gone into making this show stand out and be far and away the best. But bringing it to Toronto, having the highest pre-sale so far that we've ever had for a show, all of the television things with Fight Network going on, where we're finally being broadcast live out there to, people in Toronto get that television channel right there in their homes. It's a very cool and big opportunity, and everybody's going to want to say that they were there live. They want to get that T-shirt. They're going to want to have that DVD, say that they were there and a part of it. So if you're close by and you can swing through, tell them you're going over some French fries and gravy, and come see House of Hardcore.
Perfect. Now, to date, HOH has had shows in our hometown, your hometown, Poughkeepsie, Philadelphia, California, now Canada. Is there any place set in the future, in your mind at least, where you would want to take HOH next?
Well, the big thing that we have coming up is House of Hardcore is going to be heading to Australia this December.
Wow.
Which is a huge deal for House of Hardcore. That's very international. There's no option of driving to that one.
Yeah.
So House of Hardcore is just getting the opportunities that are coming our way and the chance to bring it to a different country like that. And the fact that there's enough demand to even want that to happen is by far and away exceeding our expectations and the amount of time that it's taken to get there. So, I know for a fact of 2 other cities in the United States that there's already deals to go down for a House of Hardcore event there. So it's going to be a very interesting rest of 2015.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what are some of your favorite House of Hardcore moments so far?
When Alberto Del Patron came out, was an amazing goosebump rush, just because of the surprise factor, and people never thought that. Didn't think that was going to go down, but it did. Rey Mysterio at the last one was also, a huge surprise. Who would have thought Rey Mysterio would be on our show? It was absolutely nuts to see him, just to be standing next to him in the back, wow, this is really about to happen. This is crazy. The very first House of Hardcore, I can't forget, how awesome the first one was, and that video played to start, the feeling that I had was just like unbelievable. The goosebumps and the history of the Mid-Hudson Civic Center and how we were getting a chance to bring House of Hardcore there. It was absolutely a memory that I would never ever be able to forget. So, and that's really spread the gamut of all of these shows, and I get a chance to be in those matches with Team Tremendous, and I'll never forget when he did gave me the head scissors and then he nipped up. The feeling of the crowd, I was actually like, the ring was vibrating from the sound of the crowd that he nipped up. It was insane. So you can imagine how it went when he did a Canadian Destroyer last show. So who knows what this one's going to be.
Awesome. Now, there are some amazing wrestling promotions out there today, but what do you think sets HOH apart from every other company?
Tommy Dreamer. No other company has Tommy Dreamer 100% with his vision of what pro wrestling should be and the talent roster that he's able to put together for guys that just love to be around Tommy and would do anything for him. So, he's personally invested in the careers of almost every guy that's on these shows. I know stories of him with almost every one of these people where he's gotten them jobs. Been around them for 20, 30 years. Like every single person that's on the show is a guy that Tommy Dreamer has handpicked to be there. That's what keeps us apart from what everybody else is, because there's no other vision that clouds it. There's nothing else that gets in the way. It's what Tommy Dreamer wants. And he's a heck of a name and a mind to speak of on his own. So, we bring gritty wrestling. We try to up the production value just a little bit. But it's your old school, like, everybody's got a place on the show, and it kind of just all fits together. And some new guys up and coming, some guys you never heard of, you're going to hear from in the future. And then just as you've seen, like, with, some of the guys that have been signed and on TV, and we were airing their matches on HOH TV at the same time. It's crazy. Kevin Owens, he was on HOH, and boom, he's also on the NXT, and then now he's on Raw. That feels crazy too. Tommy has a knack for picking out the guys that are on the radar.
Now, most people within the business today, you just mentioned, Kevin Owens, NXT, all of those sorts of things. Most people within the business say that wrestling's experiencing a boom period. With everything that you're seeing and helping facilitate, do you think that this is true?
I certainly feel that way. I feel like the wrestling boom period is for something different. It's just all the fan interaction that I have and everything is they're always just happy that they've got an alternative. And everybody likes to see the small thing get big. Then once it gets big, then everybody tries to tear it down. But everyone likes to see that competition. And in the wrestling world right now, what's better than watching wrestling on a Wednesday night, right?
That's right.
You get everything. So the fact that they did that there, I wouldn't necessarily always believe everything you read or what everyone says. TV negotiations are a very fickle thing, so I've learned to see, and and it's just it could go either way. And I think having a television product in 2015 is important, but the way that wrestling is being delivered right now through WWE Network and all these Roku channels that are offering things. And my personal feeling that that's the direction that media is going to go, and that's how people are going to, the cord cutters. That's how people are going to get their television. So having a TV deal doesn't necessarily to be all end all of your company. You just have to be able to promote wrestling and do it well. I don't know if that gives your answer. I don't know.
No, absolutely no.
Sure. Now, what is one thing that you would love to have? That you'd love to see happen at HOH that maybe hasn't happened thus far? Is there anything still, maybe short-term goals or anything that you just still want to happen that hasn't happened?
If Stone Cold would come out and give Sandman a stunner, that would pretty much make my night.
Perfect.
Wouldn't that be awesome to see on an HOH show to end it?
Definitely.
No. Now I have a question, because you're, like I said, you're in it. You're in the belly of the beast. You're doing a little bit of everything. We've always heard about Tommy Dreamer kind of being one of those guys that, back in WWE, he used to eat weird things and stuff. Is there any funny moments with Tommy Dreamer that you can share, I guess, that have happened so far with you working with him?
There's a all-you-can-eat sushi place here in beautiful, crime-free downtown Poughkeepsie, New York, and I remember going with him to all-you-can-eat sushi, and I wasn't the biggest. I'm not still the biggest sushi guy, but I can have a roll or two and try some different things. But Tommy Dreamer went through 65 pieces of sushi, or 65. I think it was 65 rolls or something.
Wow.
It was an absolute ridiculous amount of sushi. That they were begging for us to leave, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter what it was. He would eat it, and then you have to eat everything, or they charge you extra. So he would just. There was no stopping him. I don't know how he did it. I really don't know how he did it.
Well, perfect. We'll have to ask him next time we talk to him. Now, everybody who's listening right now, houseofhardcore.net for all your HOH updates about this weekend and future happenings. But Vik, lastly, give us your best, promo, your best pitch for House of Hardcore 9 this Saturday for fans that are maybe, like we said, on the fence, or just that are going, or anything you want to tell us about.
Well, this Saturday, you get a chance to see the best wrestling company in the world doing their thing in front of a world audience on Fight Network. If you don't have Fight Network, get it so you can watch this show. You can just buy it for the weekend if you want to. Or, come drive up there and check it out. The show is awesome. The confirmed matches that we have set, Young Bucks versus Team 3D. You got Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, two guys that I know very well, versus Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian. What an awesome match that's going to be. Those guys are tag team champions in Japan. We got Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, Ring of Honor tag team champions. Well, it's crazy. Dreamer versus Chris Hero. John Hennigan versus Tony Nese is a match that I wanted to see for a long time. Those two guys, that's going to be amazing. We got Eddie Kingston's going to be there. Thea Trinidad, Team Tremendous, JT Dunn, Ben Ortiz, Pepper Parks, and of course, you got me, the wrestling savior, Vik Dalishus. So if that's not something that's going to make you tune in, then I don't know what you like in your wrestling. But we guarantee you it's going to be a weekend that everybody's going to be talking about. It's going to be getting a lot of clicks on those wrestling dirt sheet sites. Everybody's going to want to know what happened. See it for yourself.
Well, we've had you on the show before, but just in case people still don't know, where can they follow you and on social media?
I think the best place to follow me is on Twitter at Vik Dalishus, VikDalishus. That's where I pretty much just post my general thoughts and feelings and pictures, and sometimes I'm uncensored, sometimes I'm very censored, which I hate. But that's the best place to follow me. Anybody who wants to book me, that's where you can also contact me. You can follow me on Facebook at Vik Dalishus also. And we have a very popular Facebook page with the name Vic Hale. So me and my old buddy Hale Collins run a joint Facebook page. So check us out there too.
All right, Vik, thanks so much, and we'll see you this weekend.
All right, guys. Later.
All right, another wrestling podcast, fans, get ready, because on today's show we have one of the most outspoken wrestlers of all time. He's been just about everywhere in the world, and he isn't slowing down anytime soon. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Eddie Kingston.
Hey, fellas, what's going on?
Not much. How's it going today?
It's going all right, man. My back doesn't hurt that much, and I'm watching the All-Star game, and I'm talking to you guys, so I'm pretty good.
All right, well, like we were saying, this Saturday, July 18th, we will once again be wrestling for Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We see
That's right.
Yeah, we see you don't have a scheduled match so far, but is there anything you could tell the fans maybe what your role might be this Saturday?
Well, the fans who know me know every time I get in that ring, no matter what it is, no matter how my body feels, I give 110%. So I have no idea who I'm fighting. If you notice, I didn't say wrestling. I have no idea who I'm fighting at House of Hardcore, but Every time I go in there, it's 110%. You know, I haven't won a match yet. I'm 0-8. That includes the times I teamed up with Homicide, but, you know, we had to wrestle teams like the Steiner Brothers and Devon and Matt Hardy and Bad Intention. So, you know what I mean? If you're going to lose, which I hate doing it, you might as well lose to great teams like that. But,
sure.
Yeah, man, I'm going to be there. My record's expired, so I'm going to be in Canada. There's nothing on my record.
All right.
That's awesome. Now, as you mentioned, it's not your first HOH show. What makes you keep coming back to House of Hardcore?
Well, first, why not? They pay well. No, I'm joking. No, why not, man? I always love being part of companies that are just starting up. You know what I mean? Like Chikara, and you know, and I like to take a little bit of the ego that I do have. I like to take a little bit of credit for the success that AIW is having and the AAW is having since I've been there. So I like to be on the ground floor or be part of an up-and-coming promotion. And HOH, without a shadow of a doubt, is definitely up-and-coming. You know what I mean? It's a great mix of the old-school guys and the new-school guys. And, you know, a lot of people want to compare it to another certain company. I'm not going to say the name, but it's totally different. It's not one of those... and I think it's been proven after the 8 shows that it's not just another, you know, revival of a certain company. It's definitely its own thing going on. I try to use a big word, so I can only think of a thing.
No problem.
Its own entity. Is that? Hopefully, I used that correctly.
Absolutely.
Sure. Now,
yeah. So HOH stands on its own. So if fans are going to be there cheering anything, we should cheer HOH as much as they can.
Definitely. Now, your wrestling style has been described as a throwback to the old school wrestlers. Do you take that as a compliment?
Yeah, I definitely do. You know, I grew up. I'm an old man, but I grew up in the age of brawlers and talkers. You know, but you know, I also grew up with wrestlers. You know what I mean? And I can go in there. I can wrestle, and I can do lucha. I was trained to do all that stuff. I can do very little of the British style, very little of it, but I can do it. But it always seems like it always breaks down in my matches to strikes. So when we start striking, I have no problem with that, and I'll brawl. You know, my favorite American wrestlers growing up were Eddie Gilbert, Dick Murdoch, the Bruiser, and the Crusher.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Guys like that who I've seen, and a lot of Memphis stuff that I saw. Because like I tell everyone, my mother had no idea what WWF at the time was and what NWA was, and the only way to keep me calm, I was a hyper kid, surprise. The only way to keep me calm was to put wrestling on the VHS there. And so she would just grab anything at a Video Vision, not even a Blockbuster, a Video Vision. And she would grab whatever, and then because of that, I was able to see like Memphis wrestling and NWA and WWF as a kid. So I got to see everything.
That's great.
Now, you just mentioned the other company. You kind of talked about it a little bit. That's not HOH, but it's no secret that you were a huge ECW fan growing up.
Yeah.
Do you think that you would have made it in ECW as a wrestler?
Probably not. I probably would have been fired over something dumb. That's probably what would have happened. To be honest with you, I'm not very corporate, and that kind of hurts my bank account. But you know, I'm making a living on the independents. You know, I'm trying to be corporate. It's just really hard when I don't know. I'm not a suit and tie guy, and I'm not a
Sure.
choose your battles kind of guy. Everything's a battle to me. You know, so. Plus, you know, like my first job outside, you know, before wrestling, outside of wrestling was an iron worker, local 580 iron worker. And, you know, I worked with a bunch of guys who were just fresh out of jail or guys who were out of their minds who should be in jail. So, you know what I mean? There wasn't really picking and choosing battles that day. Every day was something new, you know?
Definitely.
You were always yelling at the boss, or the boss was yelling at you. And, in New York and telling you get the F out of here, and this guy telling you to, suck his whatever. And then, but you were still on the job the next day. It didn't matter,
Absolutely.
Tempers were flared. So, I got to change, of course, if I want to make more money, but I think I'm doing pretty well. I like to do better, but I think I'm doing pretty well for a kid that was supposed to be done by the time he was 17. I wasn't supposed to make it to 20, so I'm pretty good.
Awesome. Now, speaking a little bit of old school, many wrestlers have a story of how they fell in love with wrestling. You explained a little bit about your mom taking it, buying some videos for you. Is that how it all started, or was there something else behind it?
No, that's how it all started. I remember the first wrestling tape I ever saw was WrestleMania 3, and that was it. I was hooked. And then as time went on, I saw I just remember Eddie Gilbert sticking out to me through I remember my mother got the best of Memphis Mad Men or Feuds or something, and Eddie Gilbert was on it, and I remember him throwing a fireball all over his face, and that was it. I was hooked, man. He was the first guy that I said, okay, I want to do it, And then I saw NWA and guys like Dusty Rhodes, rest in peace, when he did that. Everyone knows the promo, the Hard Times promo, when he said, if you touch the screen, together we can win the World Championship. And I remember as a kid touching the screen. Nice. So, that got me hooked. I saw out of love for wrestling because I was a big Bret Hart fan. So when Shawn Michaels won at WrestleMania 12, I was kind of like, okay, I'm done with wrestling. I was also becoming a teenager at the time, and wrestling was still very kiddish. Mm-hmm. And I just remember a friend popping in the tape of ECW's Gangsta's Paradise, and then I was immediately hooked back in with characters like, Tommy Dreamer being from where I'm from, Yonkers, New Jack, Raven. I remember being a fan of Shane Douglas when he was in WCW when he was teaming with Steamboat, wrestling the Hollywood Blondes and stuff. That got me all hooked. Sure. The ECW got me back hooked. And then because of ECW, I found Japanese wrestling. I was already a fan of the Great Muta because of NWA, and same thing with Chono. Masahiro Chono, I was already a fan because of NWA, WCW. But then I didn't know the difference between All Japan and New Japan at the time. So I was just buying whatever tape said Japan on it. And I saw Kenta Kobashi versus Kawada for a 60-minute draw. And that's what made me fall in love with that style of professional wrestling.
Sure. Now, you mentioned you're from Yonkers. My parents actually grew up in Yonkers, moved upstate near Poughkeepsie, New York. And being in the Northeast, growing up as a kid in Yonkers, did you go to a lot of the shows up here in the Northeast? I know WWE and all them used to run through here many times, like the Westchester County Center and all that.
Yeah, I went to the county center, especially when ECW was there, WWF was there. I also went to the Garden a lot, to see those WWF shows. I went to the Manhattan. I was at the last two ECW pay-per-views before WWE picked it up and did whatever they had to do with it. And I think it was Massacre on 34th Street, and the other one was, I like to think, Anarchy Rules. Or Guilty as Charged, one or the other. I was at those shows, I remember trying to sneak out and get a bus ticket to go to Barely Legal and maybe buy a ticket, like a scalp ticket or something. Because at that time, New York wasn't Cablevision.
Yeah. At
that time, wasn't carrying the ECW pay-per-view. They didn't carry the first two. So, I being an ECW fan, I was like, I got to see this shit,
Yeah, definitely.
Especially the way they hyped up Taz and Sabu and the three-way with Funk Richards and Sandman, Winter Faces Raven, all that stuff. And then, like I said, being a fan of Japanese wrestling, seeing the Michinoku Pro guys being there doing a six-man, you know what I mean? So, all that stuff, made me want to go there.
All right.
Now, we have a lot of people that are in the business today. Some of the people you can tell are a fan of the business. They've grown up watching it, such as yourself. Do you think that people that are in the business should be a fan of the business, or do you think that it's okay if they're not?
I think it's okay if they're not in the beginning. But if they're still not and they're in it, then I'm kind of like, I just don't get it. It's not that I hate on it or don't agree with it. I just don't understand it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like being a football player, going to the NFL and not being a fan of the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Or being a fan of football, not knowing, you don't have to know the history. You really don't. I know a lot of people, young people, guys in the business now don't know the history. But, you know what I mean? You got to still be a fan of what you're doing. And to me, the guys who aren't fans while they're in it, or they pick up on it later on, and they're not fans, they won't last because the love's not there.
Sure. Now,
I've seen a lot of guys do that, where they become fans later on, but really not die hard or whatever you want to call it. Then they're gone before you know it.
Definitely. Now, after watching wrestling for many years, you signed up and you started training to become a wrestler. Was breaking into the business what you expected, or was it totally different?
I knew it'd be hard. I don't want to say I thought it'd be harder, but I knew back in the day, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and even in the 90s, it was a lot harder. You know what I mean? So I did expect traveling and getting no pay, and if I did get paid, it was just for gas, and you know what I mean. I took great pride in the fact of traveling. You know what I mean? Like me, my old partner, Blackjack, Jigsaw, and Bryce Rensburg, the referee, would always say that we're going to be indie, we're becoming indie, which was a thing of pride for us. You know what I mean? Doing Chicago and then doing IWA Mid-South and then picking up shows here and there just to get in the ring and pick up different states and wrestling in front of different crowds was a big thing for us. The reason why I say it was harder back in the day, there weren't so many wrestling schools out there. Mm-hmm. And from the stories I hear from the veterans, I love sitting in the locker room and listening to the veterans, the guys who made money in the business and the guys who've been around forever. I love listening to their stories, and they would tell you, there were there was maybe 3-4 wrestling schools. And if you want to get in, you had to know a wrestler and hope he wasn't just taking your money and just taking you for a ride, using you for a ride and stuff like that. And that's how you broke in. And, it was more of a Larry Sweeney, rest in peace, would tell me, when we would talk about it and he would read all the books and I would watch the shoot interviews and all that it was more of a fraternity, I guess you could say, back then.
Sure.
Not everyone was able just to get in.
Absolutely. Now, you spoke about a lot of these people that were wrestling and you kind of broke in with, and the business was a little bit different back then. Do you think that you got help from any wrestlers back then, or did they still kind of keep it to themselves?
Oh, no, I got very lucky. I got very lucky that a lot of the veterans took a liking to me, especially guys like Mark Wolf, Tracy Smothers, Ian Rotten. And, Ian was running IWA Mid-South, and he would bring in people like Dusty and Terry Funk and Chris Candido. And I was lucky enough to sit around them and just hear them talk and pick their brains without even really asking them a question, because they would just talk about wrestling. And I made sure that my bag and where I was changing was close enough to hear what they were saying, Because to me, you can learn only so much by being in the ring. You have to learn more by hearing from the guys, especially guys who made money in the business, who have been everywhere.
Sure. Now, for fans out there or fans who may not know who Eddie Kingston is yet of our show, could you maybe tell them what sets Eddie Kingston apart from all the other wrestlers out there today?
It's real simple. What you see is what you get. Eddie Kingston is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm a miserable, angry prick sometimes. Well, maybe 5 days out of the 7 day week. That changed because of finally got something nice in my life. But other than that, what you see is what you get. This is not a gimmick. This is who I am. You can say character or whatever. I take things from my experience and my experience in life, and I put it into wrestling terms and put it out there because I believe people connect with things that are genuine. And I believe a lot of that's missing in wrestling. But then, I try not to be a jaded wrestling fan, but from what I've seen from WWE as of late, it seems like they're letting guys be more genuine. I haven't seen the last 3 Raws though, but from all the other stuff I've seen as of late, it looks like they're letting guys do that, because that's what got me during the Attitude Era too. It seemed like a lot of guys, like the popular guys, or the guys who made money, like Austin and Rock and Foley, were all genuine. I'm just naming those 3. I know there's a lot more, but they were genuine, and people can connect to something that's real. That's not. They could tell that something is forced or fake.
Yeah,
definitely.
Now, you've been a singles wrestler a lot of your career, but you also spent part of the time as a tag team. Who has been some of your favorite tag team partners over the years?
I think everybody who I tagged up with, I learned from or had fun with, or you could say, I can't just pick one, but the first 2 that pop in my head are, of course, when I broke in, I was originally in the tag team called the Wild Cards with Blackjack Marciano. Me and him were friends outside of wrestling before we broke in, and being in there with your close friend, you know what I mean, and being in the ring and the guy that you studied wrestling tapes with and trained with is awesome. And the second name that pops out is Homicide, a guy who's my mentor, who I looked up to when I was watching the Indies and seeing where he came from. He's a New Yorker too, and teaming up with him and learning from him is a great honor and also just a lot of fun.
All right, pro wrestling is a tough sport no matter who you are. What has been the hardest part about pro wrestling to you, in your own experience, would you say?
Keeping my mouth shut. That's probably the hardest thing.
All right.
Not letting your opinions, affect you and stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Everybody has an opinion, and they're like assholes. Everyone got one, and they all stink. And a lot of people don't like to hear my opinions because I come off rough. Even if I can be telling you the sweetest thing in the world, I guess my tone is a little rough. But keeping my mouth shut and choosing my battles. Those are the 2 hardest things I ever had to encounter in wrestling.
All right. Now, you kind of mentioned Raw earlier, and the list of people that you've wrestled is basically who's who. What are your thoughts when you see people like CM Punk, like Claudio, Kevin Steen, Samoa Joe, Chris Hero, all being in the WWE and NXT?
Good for them. I can't really concern myself with what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I like them, then it's awesome. If I don't like them, then I don't care.
Absolutely.
Because I got to wake up in the morning and I got to deal with myself. I got to deal with myself at shows and other things, I'm not going to hate on their success. Like, I'm just very indifferent to a lot of those guys. Some of those guys I like a lot, and I'm very happy for them. You know what I mean? And a lot of those guys remember where they came from. So, like, if you text them or something, they'll get right back to you. The other ones, the other ones like Claudio, do whatever you got to do, man. I'm indifferent to you. I mean, I could care less.
Now, speaking a little bit about WWE, do you have any desire at all to compete for them? Or is it, it's one of those things you ask everybody.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I think the people who tell you no, that they're not, I think they're it's going to get me in trouble. I think they're marks, and they're not good businessmen, because we're in America anyway, where are you going to make that money? If you're not
exactly
over in Japan, if you're not over, especially like New Japan, or if you're not over at a company that's making money, where are you going to go in America to make money? At this point in time, you never know what may pop up next. You know, I look at HOH as something that could pop up and be the next big thing. You know,
Definitely.
if anyone can do it, it's the guys there or the guy there. But at this present point in time, if you want to live comfortably, you got to go there. So of course I would. You know, if they call, if they give me a tryout, of course I would love to do it and show them what I got. They may not like it, but you know, at least I can say I tried.
Awesome.
Yeah,
definitely.
Now, if you stopped wrestling tomorrow, what would you consider your greatest match or your biggest achievement in wrestling so far?
I say if I stopped wrestling tomorrow, man, I wouldn't be satisfied. But I don't think I'm ever going to be satisfied in my life in general. But I got to say the biggest accomplishment was just being part of Chikara with the return show, especially when we had 1,300 people in Eastern PA. You know, and that was a surreal moment to see that, and to come from, you know, like I said, I was part of the second class, but I was also part of the first set of shows where there was 12 people, 8 people in the audience in the beginning, and where Chikara couldn't get covered because we were considered student shows. And now, you know, they do that big angle where they close down for 9 months, which took a real big tear to do that, and then have that comeback show and have 1,300 people there.
Definitely. Now, what does the future hold of Eddie Kingston? Do you have like a 5-year plan? Do you look into the future and say, man, in, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years or something like that, I want to be doing this, or I don't know. What's the future hold for you?
Oh, my plan in 5 to 10 years from now is to be alive. So is to be breathing and not to be that guy at the bar. That, you know what I mean? The old dude at the bar that's there every day drinking, and you know something's up with him, and somewhere his life made a wrong turn. You know.
Definitely.
I've seen a lot of those dudes. You know. So that's really my only thing. And when it comes to wrestling, you know, I used to stress out so much about what tomorrow will bring me in wrestling that it was almost detrimental to my health and to my mentality, especially.
Sure.
At this point in time, I have a bunch of shows lined up for this year, and every show I'm on, I'm going to go out there and bust my ass. Whether people like me or not, you know, you're watching me. Like, people make fun of me on Twitter for, I guess it's called vanity search. I call it searching my name and retweeting the hate stuff. Because the reason why I do that is because I find it really flattering that you thought about me that day, no matter if you like me or not. Right? I appreciate the love, I really do, but that you hate me that much that you thought about me, and then that you hate me that much that you actually spent time during your day. When I don't even know who you are, and I'm not even thinking of you, but you spend time out of your day to think of me, let me rent space in your head, and then actually type it onto Twitter and let everyone know how you feel about me. Like, I don't know you, so I'm not going to write anything about you. So I find it flattering. That's why I retweet it, and, you know, people are like, oh, you're a troll, you're this. I don't even know what that means. You know. Do I bust some of the fans' balls that don't like me? Yeah, because I think it's funny. It's not because I'm mad at it, because you can have your own opinion. You know what I mean? There's a lot of wrestlers I don't like. I may like them as people, but I don't like their ring work. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. You know, I may love their ring work and don't like them as a person.
Sure.
But, you know what I mean? I'm not tweeting it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, you know, either give me the love, give me the hate, but at least, you know, I'm there. After 13 years, and I get my balls busted when I let my ego out and I say, look, I've been relevant for X amount of years. Now, you guys still tweeting about me or booing me or cheering for me or giving me compliments on Twitter or Facebook or Reddit? Is that what that thing? I don't know. To me, the internet's only good for porn. Like, so I don't know anything else. But, you know, I mean, you're keeping me relevant. after 13 years, man, of doing this, I'm just happy to be a little bit relevant still.
Well, you mentioned Chikara, and obviously you're wrestling for them July 25th in South Windsor, Connecticut. What do you and Ophidian have in store for the Arcane Horde?
I don't know. I don't know.
You're just going to go out.
Talk to him. I don't talk to him. See, when you force me to team with somebody, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah.
You know, man, I understand what the deal is with this Battle of Immortal stuff, and we're all trying to collect points and get title shots and all that stuff. I understand that, but everyone knows that the Grand Championship, as I like to call it, you know, it's just basically, you know, I deserve another shot at it with points or without. But, you know, you got to go through what you got to go through. But when you team me up with people that, A, I don't hang out with on the regular, or B, I don't know, it's not going to be really, really good or fun, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is if I hit one of the Arcade Horde or the Material, whoever I'm in there with, once I hit them with the back fist or the Saito or the American D, then it's a 1-2-3. Just stay out of the way. I'll get the points. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's really it.
All right. Well, what do you have to say to people who maybe dismiss Chikara as like a silly promotion?
They're right. But why not? What's wrong with that?
Ain't nothing.
You have. Let me put it to. I'll put it to you like this. Let's say WWE, which of course is the tops in America. You know what I mean? I have my own opinion what's the top promotion in the world, but in America, without a shadow of a doubt, WWE is number one. Let's say they're vanilla ice cream. Do you want to eat vanilla ice cream every day? Or every time you go out to Cold Stone, or so almost like but anyway, Cold Stone or Carvel, or in New York, people know what I'm talking about, Mr. Softy.
Oh, yeah.
You don't always want vanilla ice cream. You either want some sprinkles on it, or, you know, hot fudge on it, or you may want chocolate ice cream. You know what I mean? Or like I said, the Cold Stone stuff, you add so much different stuff to your ice cream. That's what Chikara is. Chikara is that weird Cold Stone ice cream that you put brownies and Reese's Pieces in, and fudge and all this crazy stuff that's not supposed to be in ice cream, or not even supposed to be mixed together, you know?
Definitely.
Bunch of candy bars and stuff. That's what Chikara is. So what's wrong with it being silly?
Hey, nothing.
If it's not your thing, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. You know, like I don't knock nobody for not liking Chikara. Only time I knock people for not liking something is when they don't even watch it. Definitely. They just hear it from other people, so they don't even know what it is. They just dismiss it before they even watch it because all these guys wear masks. But that's what Lucha Libre is. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You're going to try to tell me guys like Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, La Parca, you know, Eddie Guerrero when he wore a mask, Art Barr when he wore a mask, that they were dumb, they were silly. You know, I understand that. I'm not comparing Chikara to that, but if you're just going by the mask thing, you know what I mean? Then everybody that wore a mask is stupid, then I guess. You know, because a lot of those guys that wore a mask sold out Arena Mexico and made money. And they're like gods in Mexico, you know?
Yeah.
So don't knock it until you see it. If it's still not your cup of tea, then move on. It's all right, brother.
All I know is,
in my opinion, for one person that doesn't like it, there's about 3 people who do.
That's right.
All I know is I want ice cream now.
Yeah, you're not the only one, but I got to wait till Sunday.
Well, where can fans, you know, you talked about Twitter and you're getting some hate on Twitter, but you don't care. But,
I love it, though. I love it. They never tagged me in it, by the way.
Where can fans keep up with you on social media?
Let me see, what's my thing? On Instagram, Eddie Kingston 81. I like to do the hashtag day in the life when I'm on the road, taking pictures, doing videos of where I'm going. So this weekend, I'll be at AAW and House of Hardcore in Toronto, so I'll have a couple things up. And my Twitter tag name is so difficult because I have to take the Chikara out of it because sometimes I curse or put rap lyrics up that aren't family friendly. So it's Mad King underline gimmick STON 81.
Awesome.
Well, hopefully everyone got that. If not, just
we'll tweet it out to him.
Everyone hit up Jigsaw, and I think Jigsaw Wrestling or something, and bother him for it.
Perfect. Eddie Kingston, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the love. I appreciate you for wanting to have me on and listen to me talk. I appreciate it.